Hello, dear Predrag.
Hello.
It's nice to see you here again. It's a pity that online, but never mind. I hope that it's our life. Sometimes we can meet in regular mode, face to face, as in June. I want to remind to my students that colleague Professor Predrag, he visited Šiauliai. He was in Šiauliai in June during our Baltic Sea Symposium, and he was one of our main plenary speaker. And possible Predrag will introduce and will say some words about him. Professor Predrag Pale, he is professor from University of Zagreb, Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing, if I know well.
Yes.
And from early 90s, let's say, he was deeply involved in building Croatian internet, and later on he is obviously a pioneer in knowledge management and using ICT in education. And it's directly related with our module. And I am very happy that you are today with us. And I hope that you will present a very interesting lecture, as we see on the screen, ICT in education for educational systems, innovations, and technologies. Please, Predrag, now it's your time. Let's agree that we will discuss possible. It can be, as we discussed before, approximately 1 hour, and afterwards we can possible perform short discussion based on some questions, possible questions from students, and okay.
Okay.
Please, it's your time.
Okay. Thank you for invitation. What I have envisioned is that I give you my views and some overview of the way I see technology and its relationship to education, so that we can actually discuss. And I, with my experience and knowledge in technology and education, am at your disposal so that we can discuss what does it actually mean for the future of education that probably you will be somehow participating in. I work at the University of Zagreb at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering Computing, and I have several roles that are here important as an engineer, as a teacher, as an innovator in the area of education. My profession is electronics, and I have been doing many heavy electronic stuff like designing equipment to measure something, and computer stuff like operating systems, various very technical things. I design, I make them, I repair them. I'm really the engineering passionate person. But also, I accidentally started teaching 30 years ago, and I created about 10 courses. They are also very technical ones. But in my engineering career, I was wondering why many projects don't succeed, and I have seen that it's because of organizational aspects. So I started learning how to organize and manage projects, change, meetings, conflicts, negotiations, how to present. And learning this, my customers, my clients, my partners wanted to learn this also, so I started teaching them that. So I also have a career of a teacher of soft skills, professional skills. And I teach them also to our freshman students. We have a mandatory course called communication skills, and this is what I teach them, about 650 of them. I'm also an innovator, and for the past 25-30 years, I'm trying to use technology in education. I'm creating tools, I'm investigating methods, creating my own methods, and here's a list of some technologies and products that I used in teaching. Not much has changed. Not many people are actually using technology the way I think it could be and should be used here, but also worldwide. And this is something I would like to talk about to bring some awareness, some views, how technology can be used in education. In trying to explain people how to approach it, how to implement technology, computer and networking technology in education, I separate it in three parts. The first, the simplest and very important part is administration. The second is assistance in teaching and learning. And the third one is completely new education, which would not be possible, new methods of teaching, new methods of learning, which would not be possible without computer. Now, the simplest way, and a thing that could help teachers very much, teachers on all levels of education, is using computers and networks and technology in administration. This simply means that all activities that a teacher has to do and that are not directly involved in teaching, that are not directly educational, should be minimized. Teachers should be freed from all administration if possible. They should be automated. This specifically means that you should never be asked as a teacher, you should never be asked to give information, to enter information in a computer system more than once. No repetitions. Once you insert information in computers, it should be there, it should be used. And no one should ask you to do this twice. Second, all processes, for instance, gathering grades, points from various systems, reporting, statistics, everything should be automated. Nothing, you press one button and everything happens. Usually they ask us, at least in Croatia, to do all sorts of reports about what we do, what we will be doing. This should be done by computers, not by humans. And the second one is also processing of information, making statistics, preparing all sorts of stuff should be done automatically. I'm lucky that my school, Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing, is very advanced in this area, and we really don't enter things twice. All reports, everything that I have to do in order to be re-elected as a professor, everything is completely automatic, and I just press a button and say, yes, I agree. We sign digitally, we don't have to do anything manually anymore. Everything is in computers, and this is how it should be. Of course, there's always a way to improve. But also, other systems in the country, like ministries, those who give money, public, etc., they want some information from us. They are already in schools' computer system. They should be exported, sent in various formats. We shouldn't be asked to do that. If you free teachers from administration, you actually are giving them the ability to better teach, to better focus, to be happier, and to do better education. Computers allow this. Computer could have done this 20 years ago. And there's absolutely no excuse that any institution forces any of teachers to do anything that computers can do. So as educational organizers, as educational managers, as teachers, as engineers, as professionals in education, we should influence those who can do this to organize systems, to make rules, to make policies, to provide infrastructure, to provide support and people that will be working with the technology to make all administration as little burden to teachers as possible. This is the first and the lowest, the simplest level. It's not unimportant. It's extremely important because otherwise people get tired, people lose illusions, lose motivation to teach, and they are simply overwhelmed with things they should not be doing in 21st century. The second way to teach, to use ICT in teaching and learning is assistance for teaching. how do we assist? What do? We prepare content. We prepare things that we will be telling students in the lectures. We prepare things that students will be practicing on, exercises, case studies. We prepare all this content. Then we deliver the content. We talk, we do exercises, we discuss with them, we assess, we make exams, all sorts of things. Today, many of the things we do, especially delivery, like lectures, there is no reason. For instance, since 1908, so 25 years, I'm recording all my lectures. Every lecture I ever gave to anyone, especially in university, I've recorded, and it's freely available to anyone. You don't need a password, you don't need to log in, you just go there, you get it, you can watch it. It's actually structured, other materials are added, etc. But we need to help teachers, and technology can help teachers to prepare content, to deliver content, and to capture the delivery so that it's left for further study by students. This can be done using computers and networks. Next, we organize students, we put them in groups, we give them assignments, we monitor what they do, we monitor their progress individually and as groups, and we also test their knowledge. We make formative assessment, summative assessment, we give them grades, we are mentoring them. All this stuff should be heavily supported by information and communication technology. It can help a lot. Many things in assessment can help us very much, understanding if assessment was appropriate, if students really understand what is their prior knowledge that is lacking for them to understand. We can also monitor how frequently they go to various materials. In my school, we have warning systems. I would get warning every week that some of the students are lagging behind their duties, that they will not be able to pass the course. So I can communicate them, I can ask them if there's a problem, if they need some assistance from me or my colleagues. So this thing is extremely useful because it will warn us. We don't have to watch by ourselves. It will help us. It will also help us make this assessment easier. In one of my courses, communication skills course, students do exam in Moodle. They do it from home. We don't supervise them. We trust them. I simply trust my students. And the scores, when you look at the graph of the scores, it's a bell curve. Some students don't pass, although the exam questions are known well ahead and they had opportunity to practice on them. In another course called computer forensics, students also do their exam from home. They get some forensic material, they have to study, they have to analyze and discover some hidden keywords that we have hidden. Our computer systems that we did build generate for each student different forensic material, so they really have to work on their material in order to find a treasure, find a solution, find the flag. These systems can help because they're scalable. I don't have to invent new assignments. I have invented about 12 different types of tasks they have to do, rules by which they can be generated, and we developed a program that generates exam assignments for students. So I'm free from this. They get each individual work. They can do it at home. I don't have to supervise them, and they enter what they have discovered into computer, and they get their grades automatically. I just supervise the whole process, get information if something is wrong or not. So this is extremely helpful as assistance in the processes of teaching and learning. It's not administration. Finally, when we present some concept, when we explain things, computers are extremely powerful when we use them to visualize or even simulate. When we can simulate things, make experiments on screen or in the classroom, or show in visual way abstract concepts or practical things. This helps tremendously in the transfer of knowledge. And again, it's not very complex. It is common. It's been known. The tools and the content has been present for all these things for many years. And there is absolutely no excuse or reason why not to use it, why not to use technology in this area. The third way is completely new types or new methods of education. And there are several groups of tools. First one are virtual laboratories. I will show you some examples later. Virtual laboratories are extremely powerful thing because you don't have proportional cost. Students can exercise in those laboratories as much as they want, and it won't cost you anything more. They can do dangerous experiments, they can do impossible experiments, and they can experiment to their heart as much as they want. Virtual laboratories are therefore precious. This is something we cannot do without computers. Physical laboratories are limited with space and time and access, with resources they use. We have to monitor students not to hurt themselves or hurt anything else, and virtual laboratories are magnificent. I want to make a remark. My personal attitude is that students should come to a physical laboratory for the first time to get a physical feeling of tools, methods, and things, experiment with it. But when they get acquainted with a physical laboratory, all further exercises they can do virtually. A second new thing is extended reality. Virtual reality is, again, we'll have examples. Virtual reality is when I generate non-existing environment in which students can explore. Augmented reality is when you see the real world with your own eyes or through glasses, and superimposed on this real world are some virtual elements that help you, like you can see the heart of a patient or agent of a motor, etc. Again, we will have some examples. These tools can be done without ICT, and they are very, very powerful in explaining concepts, in exploring, in exploratory learning, experiential learning. Third very important technology is self-assessment. In education, we are used to test students, to give them exams. Students also can have some collections of exercises they can do at home to exercise, to improve their knowledge, and to prepare for exams. However, with computers, what I explained how we do exams, the same things we offer students throughout the whole semester, that they can go and use these exam tools for themselves to practice, to test their knowledge, to have the good feedback about the progress in learning. So ability that student can have someone competent, and in this case this is a computer, to test them. They don't have to go to the teacher, they don't have to wait for the teacher, they are not dependent on subjectivity of a teacher. They can do their self-assessment anytime, anywhere they want, and as many times as they want, significantly improves the way they learn. And again, without computers, this would not be possible. And finally, the newest thing is artificial intelligence, and it's only about to become available, but I can expect that very soon we will have artificial teachers, we will have computer systems that pretend to be humans, who will be able to answer questions, ask intelligent questions, etc. We don't have this technology yet, but we all need to think what we need to prepare. How do we need to structure our existing knowledge? How are we going to teach these artificial teachers so they can be available instead of us? It's scalable. We can teach thousands of students in that way. It's again cheap, and it's a good way for students to learn because they will be able to talk, to discuss, to engage with someone without burdening their teachers. So these are just four but very vivid and obvious examples how we can use technology to teach and learn in a completely new way, which is not possible without computers. Now, let me immediately give my view on artificial intelligence. The whole year 2023 has been marked with a huge public attention and professionals' attention to artificial intelligence since last autumn. Since announcement of ChatGPT, much attention has been paid to it. This is not the first time. I've personally witnessed this in 70s, when microprocessors became big news, and then in 80s when neural networks were big news. So these hypes, this high media attention to artificial intelligence comes periodically every decade or so. What I want to be sure that you understand, that we don't have intelligence. We don't have artificial intelligence. We have three types. You have simple automats which are software or hardware that we created by building rules into them. We have invented and detected rules, and we have built them into machines, and they repeat these rules. Second thing is, we have computers which are very, very fast, very powerful in processing data. We have huge amounts of accumulated data, especially on the internet. So we have the ability that our tools, our computers, can very fast process huge amounts of data and find something, deduct something, which we as humans couldn't because it would be too slow. And finally, we said, okay, but we don't know what rule to give, what algorithm to give to the computer to process the data. Could computer be so smart to find their own rules? Can computer be used to look at huge amount of data and find some regularity, some rule, and tell us what the rule is? And this is what we call machine learning, and we call artificial intelligence. These type of tools again use methods that we have invented, and they look in data to things that we told them to look at. But they process huge amounts of data and try to figure out some regulations, some rules, some algorithms, and try to classify the things that we give them on their input. So these are just various levels and stages of automation. Because in order to create true intelligence, the way we perceive intelligence to be like humans, that you can talk to about various topics and they can reason, they can have their own logic and will. We would need to understand what intelligence is. And modern science still doesn't completely understand what human intelligence is, what it consists of, how it works. It is completely unclear. Is it possible to make human-like intelligence without emotions? What we call artificial intelligence is, for instance, a car that can drive by itself. It's driven by computer. But this car cannot give you a diagnosis of your disease. This car cannot tell you anything about cooking or discuss with you philosophy. So these automates are always specialized. And basically, they don't have reasoning. ChatGPT is something called large language model. It's simply in huge amounts of texts that people have written. In these huge amounts of text, ChatGPT is trying to find text, to combine text that is closest to what ChatGPT thinks that you have asked them. ChatGPT, when you are writing text in your mobile phone, sometimes it will offer you the whole word before you type the word to the end. It types ahead, it offers you the words. Or when you type the word, it will offer you alternative words if you misspell this one. Also automatic translation. This is the same thing as ChatGPT, only instead of looking at 1, 2, or 3 words ahead, this model is looking at thousands of words in thousands of combinations, and is trying in existing texts that it has been fed with. We have been feeding this machine, their owners have been feeding the machines with thousands of texts from internet. It is trying to find a combination of text that will please you. ChatGPT doesn't understand what chair means, what fire means, what sandwich means. It doesn't understand. It just finds existing text and combination of text talking about sandwiches and fire and chair, and tries to combine something. Is it possible to be intelligent, to understand things without emotions? We don't know this. It seems that emotions play a very significant role in what we remember and how we remember and how we recall our memories. And it probably directs our attention. Is it possible to be intelligent without body? If you think, if you were male, 2 meters high, 150 kilos heavy, would you reason in the same way if you were thin, fragile, young, beautiful, flexible woman? Is it possible that you will have the same reasoning, same feelings, same experience, same attitude, and they all comprise intelligence? Probably not. We can have a car. Car can have sensors, can have motor and brakes and other things. And it's, in a sense, it is a body. But his experience of the world, even if this car would be reasoning like humans do, he would be reasoning differently because he would have different body. So the intelligence that we expect, we still don't have. However, yeah, and the question is, if we were able to create the intelligence, would it be, is there only one intelligence possible? Whose logic shall we use? You know that we as people are not agreed, frequently don't agree about the various logics. And whose ethics? If you go to internet and type as a keyword MIT moral machine, this is an experiment from this famous university. You will be presented with like 24 of scenarios in the traffic on the streets, and you will be asked, should the car go to the direction A or B? In any direction that car would go, and there are only two possibilities, the car will kill someone, and you have to decide who it will kill. After hundreds of thousands of people have done this test, it has shown that people in Japan and Asia appreciate elderly people more than kids. And if they have to choose, they would kill a kid to save wise elderly person. In my part of the world, we would kill elderly people to save kids because kids are here more valuable. People in Scandinavia and in the United States are ready to kill anyone who is breaking the rules, who is going over in crossing on the red light, even if it's a kid, even if it's somebody who is disabled, because they believe obeying rules is the most important. So from this experiment, it's clear that people worldwide don't agree on ethics. We have different views on ethics. So if you want to build intelligence, whose logic, whose ethics it will have? However, we don't have artificial intelligence. We have automats for specific tasks. They don't reason, they don't have values, they don't have emotions. If they would, the question is, whose would they be? However, these tools can do many tasks our intelligence is used normally. And one of the reasons why they call them artificial intelligence is because they can do jobs that previously could only a human being do with their intelligence. Previously, you couldn't imagine a machine that will translate. Now machines are translating. We don't no longer need, for many things, we don't need a human translator. And that's why we call them intelligent. However, although we don't have artificial intelligence yet, we do have wonderful information technology that we could and should use in education. And I would like that we talk about this. We have probably reached the Holy Grail. Imagine, you see this little thing, USB stick, USB memory. This thing that we have in our pocket, or even smaller version, this small SD card that we have plugged into our phone to store our photographs. Today they have such tremendous capacity, up to 1 terabyte, that you can put all, if all lectures that you have ever heard were recorded, they would fit on it. You would still have place to put all books that you have ever read and will ever read, all journal articles, all music that you ever heard. Everything can fit on this small memory stick. Everything, all information you have ever encountered. Not only that you remembered, but all information that you forgot. Everything can be put on this little device in your pocket or even smaller device in your mobile phone. All information. You don't have to carry it with you. The whole libraries in your pocket. What else do we have? We have library of all libraries. We have internet. You don't have to walk to a library and browse through things. You are connected, you are hooked. You put your request once and many information sources will be consulted and the results brought to your desktop, to your screen. This is unimaginable. It wasn't possible 20 years ago. It was never possible. We couldn't imagine this. That you can, from the comfort of your office, from the comfort of your home, you can search, browse, and find information in any library in the world, in any repository in the world. What else do we have? In our pockets, this device that we call mobile phone, it's for a long time, it is not a phone. It is a computer with phone attached. Much more powerful computer than my first IBM PC was, my personal computer. They can process, they can browse through, they can analyze everything in the world. Huge amounts of data. They can do searches on full text. They can compare things. They can actively seek. They can receive warnings about new information. And finally, this technology we have enables us to communicate with anyone whenever we want, wherever this person is, wherever we are, in any time of day and night. We can communicate also to many people simultaneously. We can send a message to thousands of people. And we do this on a regular basis. So in our pocket, we have tremendous amount of memory. We are connected continuously. Wherever we are continuously to the whole worldwide knowledge. We have our own device in our pocket that can process this knowledge, transform this knowledge, present this knowledge. And we can talk to any human being anywhere in any moment of time and send them pictures and graphs and real life communication, show them what's going on here. They can show us there. We can show them videos. They can help us, guide us, consult us, teach us. All this was not possible 10, 20, at most 30 years ago. And this 30 years, my life experience, my work experience is 40 years. I'm working 40 years, and this was not possible 30 years ago, 20 years ago. So within my work time, I've got tremendous, unbelievable tool in my hands. And artificial intelligence will bring even more. The most important thing that artificial intelligence will bring, ability that I talk to people without these people talking to me. I will be talking to their digital transcription. And it will appear as if I'm talking to them. They will become scalable. I will be able, my digital transcription will be able to talk to thousands of people if they want to talk to me. So we have unimaginable thing we have got in the past decade or two. How do we address this? In teaching, in learning, how do we address the fact in science, scientific publishing, in teaching, in learning, in education of all sorts, that everyone can publish? It's not only textbooks, it's not every student can publish. Every teacher anywhere can publish. In text, in video, in graphs, in applications, in audio, in interviews, can say whatever they want about whatever they want to anyone. We have pictures, moving pictures, graphs, virtual environments, text. Previously, you would have to sit and browse through a journal, read every abstract in a journal, and the next one, and the next one, and go to the next library to find text that you need, or book that you need. Now we can search them in full text. We don't need indexing. We don't need any kind of keywords. We can browse them, search them for the full text. And artificial intelligence that we have already now is helping us do that even better. Going through a tremendous amount of texts, finding us the right one. We can recombine, we can rewrite, redesign, reprocess, reformat, republish. We can combine existing works. And some other people are combining it and offering to us combined. And we can use artificial intelligence in unimaginable ways. How do we address this? What did we change in our way of teaching, in our way of giving diploma, in our way of learning, in our way of gaining competence? How did we change because of this technology that we have available? You have it in your pockets, on your table, in your institution. Everybody has it. How do we use it? The primary education, secondary education, university education worldwide that we have today was created for this world, for the world of 19th century, industrial revolution. And now we live in a completely different world. Schools used to be a place where we store the knowledge and where we transfer the knowledge. Learning is happening in school. When I started teaching 30 years ago, the only way students could learn something about microprocessors is from me. There were no books on it. When I started teaching about internet 25 years ago, they couldn't read it anywhere. There were no books on internet, not available in my place. I was the only source. They couldn't get information except from me. There was no internet to learn from. This is the same classroom, 30 years apart, and we still teach in the same way. Should we? Because today knowledge is everywhere. It's in the field, it's in a factory, it's on streets, it's in natural parks. It's even in remote places like Kenya. People use knowledge, people use information, people produce and transmit knowledge and information everywhere. And learning needs to be everywhere. No learning, we need to learn when we need it. When we are in a situation to do something and we need to learn it, we have to be able to learn it immediately. Not to wait September to enroll in new course. Not going to study for 4 years at some school. We need the knowledge now, in this moment, this piece of knowledge. I don't need a diploma, I need a piece of knowledge right now, in a safe, secure, reliable way, and verifiable knowledge. Let me show you a few examples of use of ICT which make me extremely excited and show me that I'm not implementing it, my teaching and learning the way I should and intensity I should. If we only leveraged YouTube, Wikipedia, social networks, MOOCs, and ChatGPT to the extent we can, it will be already a lot. But people do and create many other things. Unfortunately, this slide doesn't show as it should. There is like 12 various visualizations when very simple concepts in just a second or two are beautifully explained, much better than you could do with any word. Unfortunately, Teams for some reason is not showing them. Let me show you one beautiful example how we use technology, simple video technology, to show some concepts and some effects that in no way we could observe or think of them. Now, do you feel the huge potential of this technology? Another example, we all want to be happy. Well, to the right, here is electron microscopy in the brain, and to the left is the same image colored, enhanced, so you better understand. The big ball is something called endorphin. Endorphin makes us happy when it comes to the right place in the brain. The little orange fellow that is dragging this molecule is protein kinesin, and it will be taking it to the frontal cortex, where when it arrives, it will be consumed and we will become happy. Another example from physics. If he spins it now, so the gyroscope rotates. Now it has some completely different property. You cannot show this experiment on Earth, only in zero gravity. So, and this is beautiful explanation of a physical concept. I talked about virtual laboratories. Look at this one. This is one type of virtual laboratory. We also have remote laboratories, physical laboratories that can be operated on distance. This is completely different type of virtual laboratory, something that is completely impossible, that doesn't exist in nature. We don't have physical laboratory like this. This is GeoGebra. GeoGebra is a tool for dynamic geometrics. And here the guy gives explanation of quadratic equation that all of us learned. When we plot quadratic equation, we get parabola. But what these parameters, a times x squared plus b times x plus c, what does a, b, c actually mean? This is wonderful explanation using this tool, this virtual laboratory for mathematics. This is unbelievable opportunity. We would never be able to do this with a chalk and on a blackboard. Now we can make mathematics and geometry live. Now we can experiment with math formulas. We can get better feeling what they mean, how they behave. This is impossible lab. This is virtual laboratory, which is not a replica of a physical. It's something that couldn't exist without computers. Computers can be very, very useful also in artistic expression. Only one example. There are tools created for artists to create sounds and visions and combine them with very simple programming, not complex one. There have been devices called Arduino designed to interact with these tools so that artists can create sound and vision based on interaction with physical environment, based on movements, based on sounds, and other interactions. Completely novel way of expressing artistic creativity. So when you look at these examples, the question is, I, as a teacher, what information can I give to my students tomorrow when I teach them that they cannot find on Google? When I started teaching, they couldn't find information. My role and duty was to give them secret information. Now I don't possess any information they don't have, they can't have. What explanation can I do better than somebody already did and is available online? What experiment can I show that has not been done and done in better conditions already or will be done? What discussion can I offer that's not led on social networks or answer that will not be given by ChatGPT or other people they will engage on the net? So the question is, what can I do better? Why do I stand in front of them? Why do they need to come in the same time, in the same space to be with me in school? What is it that I need to give them? Obviously, it's not to give them information. Obviously, it's not to do demonstration in front of them. Obviously, it's something else. What is it? As I said, education as we know it has been constructed for the 2 centuries ago. Everything we do today is wrong. Duration, mandatory duration of education at any level for any course is the same for every person, and we know that people need different times. We put them together and teach them based on their age, and we know that some people are more mature already as kids for some things and less mature for other things, and we should group them according to their abilities, not age chronological. We give them grades. My favorite question is, would you go to the dentist who got barely passable grade? Would you let somebody wash your car who has barely passable grade? So what's the point of grading system? And so on and so on. We are teaching by subjects, and perhaps this is not the best way to do. 45 minutes is too long for concentration. We should break this to shorter things. Learning in classroom where they learn individually and have to be in groups, it's without any reason. Learning only in schools, instead outside, outdoors, in music halls, in factories, at the fields, among people. This is all wrong. We need to change it. The education that we need for the 21st century has to be personalized, which means I should be learning with the speed that is adjusted to me, so broad and so deep that is adjusted to me. I should be learning in style and from teachers that are best for me. It has to be ubiquitous. The learning has to be then when I need it, just in time, wherever I am, in whichever moment it is. It has to be practical. It has to be oriented towards that I understand, I can discuss, I can cure, I can produce, I can repair. It has to be very practical. Give me competence. And people have achieved so many wonderful things in any area of human activity just because they were able to unite themselves, to work in groups, in pairs, in cohorts. And in our teaching, we force them to be individuals. Learning in 21st century needs to be collaborative. It has to be joint effort. Learning should be inspirational, attractive, exciting, beautiful, empowering, motivating, and supportive. It should be pleasure. When I say pleasure, many people believe that I'm saying, oh, learning should be without any effort. He believes that learning should be easy. Not at all. Learning is a tough thing. You waste a lot of energy, use a lot of sugars and fats in your body for this brain to operate. Learning is heavy job. but it shouldn't be unpleasant. We shouldn't be worried when we learn. We shouldn't be stressed when we learn. We shouldn't be frightened when we learn. We shouldn't be confused when we learn. We shouldn't be in a situation that we don't know what needs to be learned, that we don't know if we understand it, that we don't know if we can apply it. It should be a pleasurable experience. Like it is when you learn how to dance, to play guitar, to ski, or to knit or cook. It should be pleasurable, although serious and heavy activity. How does teaching or learning in your place look like today? The last thing that you've been learning or teaching, how did it look like? Let me show you a prestige Western university. How was it a few years ago? This is recorded and available online. Then they said, oh, we can do it better, especially with Corona. We can use technology. So this is how it looks when they did it, what they believe better. This is a new version of their teaching. Does really somebody believe that this is improved way of teaching? Let me show you an example. Example of complex numbers. The concept of square root of negative numbers.
Equation equals 0. We want to find the roots. On our plot, this should be where the function crosses the x-axis. As we can see, our parabola actually never crosses the x-axis. So according to our plot, there are no solutions to the equation x squared plus 1 is equal to 0. But there's a small problem. A little over 200 years ago, a smart guy named Gauss proved that every polynomial equation of degree n has exactly n roots. Our polynomial has a highest power or degree of 2, so we should have 2 roots. And Gauss's discovery is not just some random rule. Today we call it the fundamental theorem of algebra. So our plot seems to disagree with something so important, it's called the fundamental theorem of algebra, which might be a problem. What Gauss is telling us here is that there are 2 perfectly good values of x that we could plug into our function and get 0 out. Where could these 2 missing roots be? The short answer here is that we don't have enough numbers. We typically think of numbers existing on a one-dimensional continuum, the number line. All our friends are here. 0, 1, negative numbers, fractions, and even irrational numbers like root 2 show up. But this system is incomplete. And our missing numbers are not just further.
I call this a bare minimum, how new teaching should look like. Instead, the previous examples. We should use technology to the best way we know to incorporate and explain hard to understand, complex, abstract things. So what I'm telling here is that we need to innovate education. The way we do today is the way it was done 200 years ago. We need to change it. But changing cannot be done by just little improvement. We'll tweak this, tweak that, we'll change this, we'll change that. As Oren Harari said, we didn't invent light bulb by improving candles. We cannot, we will change a little bit curricula, we will add PDF documents, we'll use PowerPoint, we will record lectures, boring lectures, uninteresting lectures, unclear lectures. We can't do that. We need to rethink how we teach. Using these completely new technologies that I talked about, virtual labs, extended reality, self-assessment, artificial intelligence, but also very simple things like we saw, visualizations, simple videos, simple experiments, simple virtual labs. The true innovation of education starts when we ask ourselves, okay, when you want to learn something, What do you want from a teacher? Why don't you learn by yourself? Why don't you go to the internet? What do you actually need a teacher for? Aside forcing you, pacing you, what do you really, in acquiring knowledge, in understanding, what do you need teacher for? Why do we need school? Why can't we learn without schools? Who should be paying for this? Who knowledge belongs to? Once you've learned something, how can you make sure that you really know it? That you won't poison someone by cooking, that you won't die by sailing or skiing or climbing the trees, that you will not explode something by doing something. What kind of certificate do you really want? Do you need a certificate of an engineer or philosopher or a medical doctor? What kind of proof of your knowledge do you need? If it's a small knowledge, if it's a big knowledge, if it's a life knowledge. We have a very limited range of certificates. We have a certificate of your 4 or 5 years learning. We don't have a certificate for your half an hour learning, 2 days learning, and we don't have a certificate for 10 years of experience, 40 years of your experience. We don't have certificates for that. Why not? Why do we believe that only what you have learned in school for 5 years requires certificate and sufficiently describes your competencies? Why do we believe this? If you would need someone to work with you, what kind of certificate would you need them to bring for various things? This is what we should think of. This should be questions we should ask ourselves. I'm inviting you, when you think of education, when you create education for yourself, for others, when you depart to learn something, or when you start teaching someone, don't do things because it has always been done that way, because this is the popular way. You know, everybody uses ChatGPT, I should use. Everybody is using lecture captures, I should. Don't do it because it's popular. Don't do things because, well, nobody does it differently, so I'll do it the same way. And don't do things because it is safe. Well, nobody can blame me if I do it differently. Do things, use things that can really help you or your students learn better. That can motivate students and teachers to learn, to teach, to enjoy their profession. Be very innovative. Don't be afraid. Above all, do not use new technology to do the same things that you did previously without technology in the same insufficient, inappropriate way. And then call it new type of education, e-learning. It's not. We really, really need to think outside of the box. I hope I managed to give little argument to that. So now I would like to hear from you. I would like you to think of problems that you experience, that you see in current education, either as a student or as a teacher or as any other function in education. Which problems are most urgent to solve? Which problems are hardest to solve? And do you have already some ideas how to use technology to solve these problems? Now it's your time to talk. You've been patient, more than enough for a full hour. And now it's your time to talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Predrag, for your interesting lecture. And yeah, a lot of ideas came to my mind, possible to students' mind. Currently, I do not see any question in chat. Possible students will write something or will ask something.
Don't let them be passive. Force everybody to say something.
Yeah,
be merciless.
It's a contradiction. We should be, let's say, liberal position. Study process should be flexible and not under pressure. Okay, but I also made some remarks during your lecture, and oh, a lot of questions. Obviously, a lot of questions, but
okay, let's talk about them.
For example, you mentioned about the 21st century, and usually I'm saying that it's only a small part we passed in this century, 23 years, but much more years is, let's say, waiting, having in mind so fast and high-speed life and development of technologies, etc., etc. It's really difficult to predict our future. And can you shortly comment on this? In my eyes, it's like a contradiction at some extent. For example, personalized, because on one side you said that teaching and learning should be personalized, and on the other hand, it's collaborative approach, collaboration or cooperation. And do you see some contradiction here or not?
Not at all. Personalized means I will choose also with whom I collaborate when, on what. Collaborative means that there is a part that I need to learn by myself, and there is a part which I will best learning in group, working on projects. I strongly believe in project-based, problem-based learning. And you probably everybody at least one point of your time, you've been learning with some colleague. You've been reading, trying to understand, to explain each other, forming questions you will be seeking together. And I guess that if you had a good partner, it was a pleasurable experience. So only the words seem to be contradictory, but no, personalized means that I learn with whom I need, when I can, when it's opportunity, but I choose it's adjusted to my previous knowledge, my tempo of learning, my style of learning, and my requirements, why I need to learn it and to what extent I need to learn it.
Oh, yes, it's interesting. Interesting, really. Okay, just before your lecture, we in the beginning of today's lecture, we discussed with students shortly about Taiwan, because I showed some photos and some short videos from Taiwan, and for example, about robots in schools. Is it possible to predict or to prognose that in the future we will have not, let's say, physical teachers, but for example, robots, artificial teachers, as you mentioned? Why not? Mainly, for example, having in mind that in some cases, in some countries, at some extent, we feel shortage of teachers, lack of teachers, or not enough teachers. Possible it can be replaced by artificial teacher. What do you think?
In Croatia, we have a huge shortage of mathematics teachers. Nobody wants to teach mathematics in primary, secondary schools. We don't have them. On the other hand, I love mathematics. I love teaching people mathematics. But I think that we are teaching too many things, and we create too little understanding of the most fundamental things in math. We need different type of teaching. Using, if you have one teacher who can explain it brilliantly in a video, it will be more efficient than having a human. Now, then a student might have questions, and talking to expert is what you need. You need to talk to the teacher. Now, is it possible that we create artificial intelligence that will be able to pretend to be mathematics teacher? Well, we'll see. I'm not very optimistic that I will see this in the remaining life I have. But yes, we need it. The need arises.
Okay, Predrag, just advice, please stop sharing screen. It will be better for us to see each other during discussion.
I don't use Teams, so I have to find out how to do that.
I don't know, somewhere stop sharing. Because we have, I see that questions are approaching. We will have more questions.
Yeah, just let me try to figure out where to turn the sharing off. This is the first time I'm using Teams. I'm not very... Yep, I really don't know how to turn it off.
Oh, possibly it should be on the top right side with
I have share content.
Yeah, the stop sharing, just press.
Yeah, but I don't have stop sharing.
Share.
Yeah, I pressed share, it doesn't help.
Press again and should stop. It's...
I'm embarrassed, but I don't know how to stop it. Let me see. Let me ask Google.
It's situational learning.
Yeah. Since you own the conversation, can you stop me from sharing?
I am trying also to find, but...
It says that you should be able to stop me from sharing. Because when I press share, it just offers me another screen to share, but nothing else. And right click doesn't help. Ah, I found it. Yes.
You see, situational learning by doing.
Because it is dark red on dark green.
Yeah, it's a little. Some functions are a little bit confusing because it's new version of Teams now, and
it was
okay.
very small symbol, dark red on dark gray.
Yeah.
Now I see it with my glasses. I can see it.
Okay. Let's continue.
There are many questions which I don't understand.
Yeah, I will try to translate. The question is, what about the teacher, future teacher? What teacher possible will be in the future? Mainly having in mind, if let's say student, he or she will be able to choose everything, for example, based on, I don't know, his or her needs, motivation, etc., etc. What will be the role of teacher in the future?
Well, one thing that I see, sorry, I've been teaching, this is 4th hour of my teaching today, so my throat is slowly dying. What I see is, you know, that today we are teachers of general purpose, general practice. We design educational materials, we lecture, we design exams, we do labs, we write books, we research, we do everything. Some people make better books, some are better in talking, some are better in showing, explaining, helping solve problems, some are better in projects, some are better in exams. So one thing that would be nice if it would happen, I don't know if it will, if we would specialize. if you could be the one just that produces educational materials, another one makes good laboratory exercises, the third one makes visualizations, virtual labs, whatever. The another one makes exams. So this is what I think would be good. I don't know if it's going to happen. It depends on the people who pay us.
Sure, Predrag, I do agree, but this is again contradiction, because today's requirements are different. Teacher should be as researcher, teacher as actor, teacher as everything. A lot of functions for teacher. He should be content creator. He should be everything.
Yeah, this is how it's today.
Supporter, consultant, careers professional, everything.
Yeah, we have to be everything today. I don't think it's good.
Okay.
Because there are some people who make beautiful textbooks, really good textbooks, but they are horrible lecturers. You don't understand them a word. And you have others who can talk very eloquently, very clearly explain things, but they are very poor when they need to write something. So what's the point?
Okay, and about the role of the teacher, having in mind that technologists, let's say, knows better than we know something. For example, ChatGPT or artificial intelligence.
Well, ChatGPT only recombines texts that humans have written. And there are even competitions today which will find innovative ways to show how ChatGPT is stupid, that ChatGPT doesn't understand. You can find this on net. There's a name, I forgot, there is a name for this tests, for these questions that you ask, the group of questions that you can ask ChatGPT that will show it doesn't understand, that it will make a mistake.
Yes, sure, Predrag. I recently put a question, I put my name. I asked ChatGPT, and he no information. He doesn't know me.
I asked the same thing. Who is Predrag Pale? And ChatGPT has, I don't know. I said, okay, who was building internet for Croatia? And he gave me a name of a person I never heard of. And I asked ChatGPT, how do you know that? And ChatGPT said, well, because of the articles in 3 newspapers. I said, give me links. I got links, and none of the links worked. Then I said, would you like to learn more? ChatGPT said yes. So I have sent links to the same journals where I gave interviews on internet in Croatia. And ChatGPT said, oh, thank you. I apologize. I didn't know. Now I understand, and was very eloquently explaining what I did for Croatia. So several days later, my daughter asked him the very same questions. I sent her a copy, and the answer was again some completely unknown name. ChatGPT is actually inventing links. It creates link that he believes it would be good link to have, but it's not a link that exists, because it's a very simple machine. The machines will be better. The machines will be more complex, but I wouldn't agree that machines know better than us. If you're really expert in an area, you have tremendous knowledge and reasoning behind it, and we are not able to, for a long time, we will not be able to construct machines that can explain things, can really understand the root cause of problems.
Okay, time is running quite fast. Another question, because we discussed about virtual labs. Is it helpful, or it will be helpful for students, for example, in gaining practice, in obtaining some practical skills?
Oh yes, very much. As I said, my belief is, first you have to come into physical lab, to feel the things, to smell the things, to see how they interact, how heavy they are, how fast they react, how whatever it is, electricity, chemistry, whatever. But then when you understand lab, then you can speed this process of testing. What will happen? What if I do this, what then? If I do that, what then? In virtual lab, it is much, much faster. And yes, it can help in your practice. only virtual lab without ever feeling, without holding a hammer in your head or fire or something, no, that's not a good idea.
Okay, next question. This is obviously innovative, but open question is about, let's say, human brain, because now with also theory, brain learning, yeah, brain-based learning, or how our brain is learning. Is it in the future our brain will be in development process or not? Or technologies will make everything for us. Again, technologies.
Okay, here we have this is a frequent question. Will computers are we going to be more stupid because we will use more computers? And the answer is yes, if we allow this. You know, humans are incredibly innovative to misuse technology, to abuse technology. And yes, if we want to be lazy and not learn, if we don't care how tools operate and we will use them without any discrimination, yes, we will become more stupid. It is possible that our kids will be less competent than we wanted them to be. This is possible. And that's the danger. And there is the educational system. I don't allow my students not to know constants, pi, electron charge, gravitation force. In communication skills course, I force them to learn them by heart. They have to have the basic things in there, or multiplication table or some things. They need to know this. They cannot rely on calculators all the time or on dictionaries. You have to have a vocabulary. You cannot rely on Google to give you all the words. And yes, you need to learn foreign languages, despite a marvelous ability of Google to translate. You need to learn foreign languages, to think in foreign languages. Definitely.
Thank you, Predrag. Next question about the teacher profession, about the teacher in the future. Demand for teaching profession or for teacher profession in the future. What do you think?
Maybe we will have a good news here. Maybe one possibility is, I have many times said that how they ask me, how do you see education in the future? And I usually said that poor people without money will be learning from internet, and rich people will be learning from humans. I believe that human teachers, good teachers, will be looked for. They will be in demand. They might even get better paid, but they will be serving smaller population. Unless you are crazy like me and you give all your knowledge for free and put everything on internet because you want to reach as many people as possible. But I think that the good teacher, the one who can really explain, who can really help you learn, will be pretty much in demand. But they will not be available to masses, unfortunately.
What about equal rights?
This is a myth that doesn't exist. This is myth. They just want us to believe that there is justice and fairness. It's not.
This is the same open question, Predrag. Remember, what teacher for what school? What education for what life? And it can be both good education for good life and good education for bad life.
You know, maybe I'm a different person. I'm a learning junkie. I love learning. My passion is learning. I can't think of something that I wouldn't want to learn. I'm making my own furniture. I make cakes, too many sweets. I used to repair my car. I really like to learn anything, and I find great joy in learning. And my passion is trying to show people how learning is fun, I didn't say at the beginning, I teach people how to dance classical ballet, and I adore teaching those who believe they cannot do this because they're too old, too fat, too mentally, I don't know. I love teaching people math, people who believe they don't have talent in math. Oh, I will never learn mathematics because I'm not talented. I adore working with them and showing them how things are exciting, learning. Maybe I'm crazy person, maybe not all people are like this, but I attribute a lot to this experience of unpleasant learning that people don't like to learn. I think learning is great. The greatest passion, greatest joy, greatest satisfaction you can have if you have this privilege to learn in an interesting way. And I would like, I don't know, I don't have the truth in my pocket, but I will spend the rest of my life trying to show people how learning is fun, how it can be interesting, and try. My passion is when I learn something, then my passion is how can I explain this in a simpler way to other people? How can I simplify this? How can I make it more clear, more easy to understand? And I will be doing this because it makes me fun. I enjoy it.
Next question about future science, future research. Possible it will be in differentiated way, based on capabilities, based on skills. Is it right?
I didn't understand the question. Could you rephrase it?
In the future, in general, education, science will be only in differentiated way.
Education science will be...
Yeah, education in general, for example, based on skills, for example, for some, let's say, skillful people and possible for poor people, as you mentioned, etc., etc.
Well, good news is that the knowledge is out there already and will be more and more. And if you have this passion for learning and if you know how to learn, you will be able to learn everything. You only might not be able to have access to great teachers to work with them. You know, my understanding is look at for instance music academy. You have small classes. For instance, you're learning how to play violin. You will be 3 students, 5 students with 1 professor. You will be in class of this professor. You will be choosing professor and learning from professor that has some chemistry with you. If you are a very dynamic person, you will not go to a very peaceful and quiet teacher. If you are very structured learner, you will not go to somebody who is, waving their hands and very, very exciting. So you will be choosing a teacher that somehow corresponds to your character, and you will be marked by that teacher. This goes also for technical sciences, for social sciences. Learning from teachers should be more, in the future, more masters, more specialists, and you will be learning by working on projects with them, making a concept, building a robot, creating new food, discovering new philosophical direction. I think that high school education, university education will be more like a conservatory in music or in some other arts, where you work with your professor in a small group, collaboratively on a project, and through project you learn. Yes, there are some core knowledge that you have to gather, but this will be done by yourself and you will go for a consultation here or there. But actually the true learning, good learning, I think it's project-based and it's in small groups with a professor who is a master.
Okay, next question. About exams, if I understand well, will the exam remain the same, in the same shape, in the same mode, or it will be possible different?
In 2009, there is an organization called CEFI, which is Association of European Technical Universities, and they have an annual conference on engineering education. And first time I was there in 2009, and my presentation was Education 2.0, where I advocated teaching students through projects, not courses, and no exams. When you finish small project, medium project, and large project, you get diploma. Because the projects are so designed that you have to learn everything. So exams as we have them today, solve me 2 equations and apply it to 1 example, I don't think that they actually assess the knowledge and competence. Only when you do something, when you work on a project, when you accomplish something, solve a problem, then you show your competence. And I think that exams should be more in that direction in the future. And technology can help us do that.
And what about possible recruitment or selection entering to universities, for example, or higher education institutions? Again, in the future.
You know, I have been born in communist time, so I believe in this equality, equal rights. And I think that everyone should have the opportunity to get the knowledge, to get in the university. And now it's a problem who will be paying it, how to scale it, and we need to be innovative. But I think that it can be done. You know, as we get this artificial, it's called artificial intelligence because the jobs that we had to use our intelligence required it. Now we have automates that can do it. But the more of these jobs are taken over by computers, the more are we free to do higher complexity jobs. And for that, we need people who will be trained, who will be educated to be able to do creative, less automated, less repetitive intellectual jobs. So we need people to learn. We need more people in education. We need more people in universities. And we have to be innovative how to do this in scalable, financially feasible way, and that we don't waste a single talent. I don't know how it's in your country, but Croatia is dying. Croatia was 4.5 million people, now we are below 4. Partially because people emigrated, but in the past 10 years, 171,000 people died more than were born. We have less children, we grow older, and we die. So we are naturally dying nation. So we cannot afford to lose a person because of a traffic accident or because of a disease that could have been cured. But we also cannot lose a person not developing full talents. We need them. So if we had a smart government, they would understand this and they would do something about it. I'm not quite sure about that, that they are. I don't know how is it in your country. Europe in general is not growing in population.
Yes,
only
it's
due
more
to
or less the same. More or less the same.
only due to immigrants. Yeah. There are very few families that have 3 kids, 1 or 2 or none. I didn't contribute. I have only 2 daughters.
Okay, Predrag. Well, possible the last question because time is running. You have mentioned standardized tests, and question is related to tests. What about how very special they are and about their usefulness in the future? Okay.
You probably all know that Microsoft has certificates for various capacities. In ICT technology, we have Oracle, we have Cisco, we have other academies and certified tests, and the industry in the whole world accepts them as a standard. And you more or less know what a person knows, has competence when they have this test. In general education, take only math, university math. We don't have standardized test that is the same for all universities in Europe. We don't have standardized test in Croatia. You know, we have mathematics in civil engineering, machine engineering, electrical engineering, architecture, chemical engineering. It is the same math, and all the exams are different. All the content is different. This doesn't seem reasonable, and it's difficult to have mobile people. If your student comes here, I need to know what he knows. And we are using ECTS, which is not standardization of knowledge, it's standardization of effort. So I believe, yes, we need to sit down and create standardized tests. Smaller in volume. It will be testing just one part of mathematics, just one part of other things. And then we have a battery of tests. They should be standardized, Europe-wide, worldwide, so that you clearly know what somebody knows if they have passed this test.
Globalization in education.
Yeah. This part would be good.
But my question is, why do we need global education?
Because we need to cooperate more. And if you want to cooperate, this is the same thing as a language. We need to have a common language. And math is common language. Electrical engineering is common language. Programming is common language. We need to know, if somebody says, I can program in Python, that we know what it means, that he can program in Python, or he can program level 1, level 2, level 3. We need to know. It's, I don't see anything bad in it. It doesn't mean that you are not allowed to teach different things in different ways. But if prerequisite is to know how to invert matrices or how to spell in German, then that should be standardized.
It is unexpectedly, but I see one more question is coming. Halina is typing something. Okay, let's one more question. Unbelievable, really unbelievable. Students are so active today. It's good. As I said, smart student, small group. This is elite. Only 7 students in my group. What about next or future vision in technology area? What is next?
Yeah, I've been good in predicting technology. Nobody predicted Facebook, nobody predicted mobile phones, but this is for psychological reasons. What I see is, and I spoke at the conference about it, and I'm trying to do some research on it. Artificial intelligence used to create a digital transcription of a person, especially of a teacher, would be exciting things, and I think that things will be moving in that direction, so that you will be able in the future to talk to Vincentas, and while he is somewhere else. This is exciting technology to create. It's not behind the corner. What we need to do is to understand what actually makes a personality and how to extract it. What kind of interviews do we need to do? What kind of spying on Vincentas we need to do to figure out who Vincentas is? We need to figure out how to trick him to reveal himself, so that the digital transcription of a human being could really represent and talk and discuss with us and solve problems like this person. It is far-fetched, but while people are creating technology to do this, we need to think what actually creates a specialist, what creates a person, and how to learn more about a person, extract this from a person. This is one exciting technology I see. This is the extension of our old idea of expert systems. Something very exciting in technology, besides being faster, more ubiquitous, I don't really see. A replication like in Star Trek, a device the size of a microwave oven where you can put in shoe and get exact copy of a shoe, may put a sandwich and get exact copy of a sandwich that has the same taste and smell. That is something exciting that should be on our menu to do.
Okay, Predrag, let's finish on this, I don't know, positive or neutral, possibly not negative point, but okay, nobody knows. A lot of people live without technologies and they are happy, possibly more happier than we are. We will see, possible. Thank you very much. You are really a good lecturer. It's a good proof again for next time, and possible we will invite you if based on some conditions, obviously, possible next time. And really, it was great time, and time is really running quite fast. And thank you very much, Predrag, once again. Keep well, safe, and be positive, having in mind Croatia nation. Together, possible together with my students, common opinion, we wish you and to your colleagues big success, etc., etc. Please have a good, fruitful weekend time. But possible for scholars is not so possible to get free weekend. Okay, and it was also end of the week. It's Friday evening, late evening. Possible students wants to say some words.
Thank you for this. Kaip čia angliškai, pristatymas.
Good presentation.
For presentation and for good lesson for us.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would invite Vincentas to think to create some opportunities for making projects, weekend projects, week-long projects. Let's try to do something, solve something, invent something, be crazy. Vincentas got to know me it was end of a project meeting in Slovenia, where I was invited to give a talk on transformation of education, and I gave my talk dressed in a dress, high heels, makeup, trying to explain how thinking out of the box looks like and how stepping out of your comfort zone looks like. I'm really ready to many crazy things, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Higher education, universities, it's a great place because us teachers, they pay us to be curious. So we are curious and we ask ourselves what and how, and they pay us for this. And then we work also for young people, which is who should be creative and who should be full of energy. So it's a great place. And if we make it very serious, I will teach you some truths, and we don't think out of the box. We are not crazy, and we are not courageous enough to do things which nobody did before, then we are actually wasting opportunity. So be not always very serious. Work hard, but not always very serious. Smile a lot, enjoy, and let's create projects. Okay, thank you very much once again, and thank you all for the opportunity. Thank you for nice questions. Bye.